Welcome to yet another exciting educational video brought to you by Upvision Concept Academy. So I'm grinning right now because this topic happened to be my favorite in physics, IGCSE physics. Why? Because you have mathematics inside of it. And you know physics and maths cannot be divorced. They are intertwined, interwoven. So if you are here and you love physics, invariably means you love mathematics. And I want to encourage those who are still struggling with maths to find a way to get the concepts, because you're going to be applying most of mathematics concepts in physics. So at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to use simple algebra confidently in physics equation to also rearrange formula to make a chosen variable the subject. Third is to substitute numerical values correctly with units. Fourth is to solve for unknowns in physics problems. Then number 5 is to handle simultaneous equation, especially for circuit and motion equations. And lastly, check if answers make physical sense by thinking about unit and scale. So sit tight and enjoy the video. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, kindly subscribe to our channel to get the latest content in IGCSE physics. So the first here I'll look at is conceptual explanation. Physics use mathematics as a language. Almost every physical relationship can be written as simple equation. For example, V is equals to IR. This is not just letters. It's an equation where V is for voltage, this is equal sign, I is current, and R is resistance. In between them is a mathematical operation known as multiplication. So this is just like an equation. Another form of equation is F is equals to ma. This is for force, where F is force and m is mass, A is acceleration. So you have force is equals to mass times acceleration. Of course, you have the V is equals to U plus AT. Okay, so where V is velocity, final velocity, U is initial velocity, then this plus operation, then A is acceleration, and T is time. So if you can arrange or rearrange and substitute confidently, you can solve almost anything in physics. If I can come here and make I substitute the formula, for instance, to find I, sometimes you can be given F and given mass to find acceleration. So how do you make acceleration subject so that you can get it in solving? Understand? So that is where we are looking at. So we're going to just review the basic algebra. Let's just review basic algebra from your mathematics. So if, for example, I have F is equals to ma, like I've said earlier, and F is given as 20 Newton, then A is given as 4 meter per second square. So what is m? To find m, we're going to make m into a formula. What that means is that we're going to divide both sides by a. You understand? So that a can live here. So f over a is equals to m a over a. So this cancels this. So a is now standing alone. F over a is equals to m. So I can now find m. I can find m. So how do I get m? Substitute. Where you see F, you put 20, right? 20. Where you see A, you put 4 over 4 is equals to m. So by the time you do the maths, 20 divided by 4 will give us 5. So therefore, m is equals to 5. 5 what? 5 kg. So that is just a simple way of doing that. Okay. So the tip here is always write the equation first. Write the equation first, then rearrange it, then substitute. See 3 things I did? I wrote the equation first. So equation, then here, rearrange, and here, I substitute to get my answer. So this is what you do. 3 things. No matter how complex the equation is, the equation is, first, write the equation. Number 1, write the equation. Number 2, rearrange it. then number 3, you now substitute. You must get the answer. Okay, so rearranging formula, to make one variable the subject of the formula, isolate it by using inverse operations. Okay, I talk about inverse operation here. So if I am to, the operation between m and a here is multiplication, right? So the inverse of multiplication is division. You understand? There's a simple way of doing it, but I want to also understand the basics. The basics. So we are told to always isolate. You understand? Isolate what we want to do using the inverse operation. What that means now is that if, for instance, I have multiplication attaching a variable, I use division to remove that variable. If I have addition attached to a variable, I use subtraction to remove that variable. Okay, so let me explain this first one. For f is equal to ma, my variable here is m and a, right? I want to make a subject, sorry, m subject. To remove a is attached to m by multiplication. So to remove a, I will use division to divide both sides by a so that m can stand alone. So if I have v is equals to u plus at, and I want to remove, for instance, these two of them together. To remove it, because plus is attached to 80, I will use minus, you understand, to remove the two of them. So what I will do, I will say subtract both sides by 80. So I will come here, I will say v is equals to u, okay, both sides. So this side now, this side is minus 80, and this side, u plus 80, is minus 80. So what I've done, I have put minus 80 on both sides, so that this can cancel this. And I have v minus 80 is equals to u. So that's what that statement means. Okay, so I've given an example for using the inverse operation. I've given an example of if it is multiplication, for instance, m and a, to remove m, to make m stand alone, I divide both sides by the a. You understand? And for plus operation, plus, if the operation is plus, I will use minus on both sides to remove that quantity, to let the other quantity stand alone. So I've done justice to that example. Okay. So let me also give another example how to make a sort of formula. Let's get another complex or slightly complex formula. So I have on the board E is equals to half mv squared. So make v subject. Now this is the question, this is the formula. This formula is known as energy formula. That is the kinetic energy formula. So E is kinetic energy. So it's equals to half. M is mass and V is velocity, then square. At this instance that we have this equation on the board, E is subject to formula. Why? Because it's standing alone and it's subject over all these other ones. All these ones depend, E depends on all these ones. Why? Because whatever we put here as value, you will determine what E is. Understand? If we can put a value for mass and a value for velocity, well, by the time we compute this equation, this formula, you will get what E is. So E is the subject. But now, we are told to make V subjects. That is, we are told to make V to stay alone, to stand alone at one side of the equation, and every other thing that attached to V currently goes to the other side. So first of all, we'll look at it. How many operations do we have here? Okay, now, let's watch. I can see 2 operations, or let's say 3 operations. The first one is this division that is here. This half, this 1 over, this one is a quotient. This is multiplication, and this is exponent. So all these ones are operations. So we have to look for inverse operation to knock them out of this place. If I want to remove half, I will take this one now as an entity. though in real sense it is 1 divided by 2, that's what this one means, but I will take this one as an entity. So if I want to remove this and this, first of all, these two first of all, what I will do, because the two of them are multiplication, I will divide both sides by this quantity. You understand? Because what is binding them here now is multiplication. I told you, I said use the inverse of the operation. So the inverse, multiplication is division, addition is subtraction. So exponents, if I have exponents, I will look for the roots of that exponent. The root of the exponent. That is, if it is this one now, I will say multiply both sides by, okay, I will come to that one. Let me just leave this one first. I'll tell you what that one is. Okay, so for here now, you see, I want to make V subjects, right? I will knock these two out first. I'll knock these two out first. What I will do is to divide both sides by half m, 1 over 2m, or simply put, I want to divide both sides by m. I want to take it gradually. Divide both sides by m. So divide both sides by m. Both sides by m, right? When I do that, I will say E over m is equals to half dot m over m dot v squared. So this cancels this one. So E over m remains here. So what I have left now is E over m is equals to half times v squared. Now, I still have half attached to this. I still have power of 2 attached to v, right? For me to remove this half here on this side of the equation, what will I do to this side to remove these two, and I will still apply that same thing to this side? What I can do is that if I multiply both sides, this side and this side by 2, this half will disappear. So I can come here again, I will say multiply both sides by 2. So the note, the key thing here is that I'm doing this thing to both sides. I'm not doing it to only one side, to both sides, right? Okay, so see the instruction by 2. So this left-hand side is 2 times E over m is equals to 2 again times 1 over 2 dot v squared. Okay, so I can say 2 cancel 2. What I have now is 2e over m is equals to v squared. See, this is not the answer. I'm still having v squared here, but I just want only v. I don't want this power of 2 here. So this power of 2, what I will do to remove it is to find the square root of both sides. Or I can say raise both sides to the power of half, or to exponent half. Okay? I will say, if we say take square root of both sides, take square roots of both sides. What is square root? Square root is just raised to power half. So I'll come here, I'll have 2em on this side, but I will now say raised to power half on this side is equals to v square raised to power half. So this one cancels this one. So my v is now staying on its own, but this exponent half is same thing as saying square root of 2e over m. So I have made v, such a formula, on this side successfully. So that is it. So we will try to wrap up this class by introducing what is known as simultaneous equation. That is solving equations simultaneously. That skill is also is needed in physics, because sometimes you'll be seeing most of these situations where you solve two equations at the same time. So if, for instance, you have x plus y is equals to 8 and x minus y is equals to 2. These are two equations that have two variables, but they are unknown. and we can solve them at the same time and get these unknown variables from the solving. So for the first one, you make this one a name, call it a name, give it equation 1, then this one gives equation 2. So what you do is to look for the coefficients of the two equations and see which one you can knock out from using a simple operation. Okay, so if I rule my line like this, for instance, I know that this is 1x and 1x here, understand? And this is plus 1y and minus 1y. So if I say I want to add the two equations together, see, I'm introducing this operation, addition. If I do that, this will be 0 because plus 1 plus minus y. That's plus 1y plus minus 1y is same thing as saying y minus y. So this will become 0. So this neutralizes and becomes 0. Why this one becomes x plus x becomes 2x. And 8 plus 2 becomes 10. So I have gotten this side as 2x, there's a plus here. 2x is equals to 10. Now this one is easy for me to solve because I can divide both sides by 2 to remove the 2 from this x and then make the x stand alone. This is what we call social formula. So I have 2x over 2 is equals to 10 over 2. So 2 cancels 2, then 2 here 1, 2 here 5. So I have x is equals to 5. So I have gotten one variable here. So what I need to do is to substitute this variable inside any of this equation to get the second variable. You know we have two variables, x and y. I've gotten x first. So but to get y, I will now say substitute x is equals to 5 in equation 1. I can take any one, but I'm taking equation 1. So this is equation 1. Where I see x, I put 5. I'm writing it again. So I have 5 instead of x, then plus y is equals to 8. Again, I want to make y solve the formula. So I have to look for something to do to this 5 to remove it from here. So what I will do, because 5 is attached to a plus, I will use minus, the inverse operation. So I will say 5 minus 5 plus y is equals to 8 minus 5. What is that? I am subtracting both sides from 5. Or subtracting 5 from both sides. So this one becomes 0. So what I have here is y is equals to 8 minus 5 is 3. So this is simple. I've gotten x as 5 and y as 3. I can check in both equations. If I put x as 5 in this equation and put y as 3 in this equation, I will have 5 plus 3 will give me 8. This equation is true. It's true. 8 here, 8 here. 8 is equals to 8. It's true. Again, second equation. If I put 5 into x here, I have 5. Then minus y. Y is what? 3. 5 minus 3 is what? 2. So I have 2 here, I have 2 here. So this equation is also true. So this is how you check. So in effect, you understand that math and physics go together. You need to understand the concept very well, because by the time you start applying these skills in your physics, your IGCSE physics, you appreciate the fact that both subjects can go together. So I hope this video has been for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.